Good morning. Just about to do my workout. We'll do chapter 20 here. Fear is for suckers. We tiptoe through life hoping to safely make it to death. When I lived in New Mexico, a friend of mine took me to this cave she'd heard about in the Jimines Mountains. It's more like a big hole in the ground, actually, she said. But I hear it's pretty cool. She didn't do a great job of selling it, especially when she got to the part about how we'd have to crawl around on all fours the whole time. But I wasn't really listening to her anyways. Caves don't interest me, no matter what size they are. I was only going for the road trip and the hike through the mountains and this great burger place that I discovered the last time I was up there. The cave was just a necessary part of the trip, like stopping for gas. After a glorious drive beneath the endless New Mexico sky and a beautiful hike on the red dirt path through the pinyon pine forest, we got to the cave. It was just as she described, a little hole at the base of a small hill just big enough to crawl through. My friend tossed me a pair of knee pads and a flashlight and headed in. I followed her on my hands and knees, holding my flashlight with my teeth, and by the time we were about 10 minutes in, I felt like the entrance and my chances of ever seeing another burger again had vanished. If anything came at us from inside the cave, like, say, a monster, or if there was a flash flood or an earthquake or rattlesnake or mosquito, we were totally screwed. The craggy white rock tunnels surrounded us had closed in so tightly that when my friend finally stopped crawling and leaned against the wall to sit, she had to do so with her head bent so far forward it looked like she was about to start chewing her neck. What the hell was I doing in there again? Okay, now for the cool part. You ready? She asked. Turn off your light. She clicked off her flashlight after motioning for me to do the same. The instant my light went out, I experienced the absolute darkest darkness of beyond pitch black, holy fucking shit, deepest, darkest, blackest ever. I felt the tickling of hysteria begin to worn its way up the back of my neck, and for the first time in my life, I completely misunderstood her. Because fear was the only thing I could see in that hole. I sat there, omnipresent, gigantic, all-consuming, staring me in the face, asking, "So you gonna let me swallow you up, or what?" I realized that with absolutely zero effort, I could unravel into claustrophobic freakout and such scratching, bitching, high-pitching, crazy lady screaming colossalness that it would leave both me and my friend staring at a wall, playing with our lips for weeks after they dragged our limp and bloody bodies out of the cave. Or not. The choice was mine. To fear or not to fear, that is the question. I'm pleased to report that I decided to forego my fear frenzy in the favor of calmly crawling back to the cave, to the land of sunshine, open spaces, and walking on two legs. I emerged with not only an alarming amount of sand in my ears and severe lockjaw from cracking the flashlight with my teeth, but with the new profound understanding of choice aspect of fear. It's so simple. Fear will always be there, poised and ready to wreak havoc, but we can choose whether we're going to engage with it or turn on the lights, drown it or crawl past it. I realized that drowning it is actually pretty easy. We've just been conditioned to believe otherwise. We've made being in fear a habit. We're pumped full of it as children, like sugar. Then as we grow, we continue to take the bad news on TV and the horror in the papers and the violence in books and the films and video games and all this junk that fill us to the brim with fear about our world. We're taught to play it safe and not take risks, and to caution anyone around us to follow suit. And it's become such an accepted part of our social conditioning that we don't even realize we're doing it. For example, what would your immediate response be to someone you really loved and deeply cared about if they said, whilst sputtering with excitement, any of the following things to you? I'm taking out a gigantic loan to build my dream business. I'm going to travel around the world for a year by myself. I'm quitting my secure full-time job to become an actor. I met the most incredible person last week and I'm totally in love. And we're getting married. I'm going skydiving. For the most part, When we watch someone take the leap of faith, our first reaction is to scream, "Look out!" We've not only made a habit out of our smearing our fear and worry and doubt all over each other, but we've patted ourselves on the back for it because we believe that it shows how much we care. That's something worth being scared of, if you ask me. There's something called the crab effect. If you put a bunch of crabs into a bowl, and if, while they're crawling all over each other, one tries to climb out, the rest of them will try to pull himself back down instead of helping him push out. No wonder they're called crabs. Imagine how different the world would be if we lost our crab, if we were less crab-like. If we were not only taught to really truly believe in miracles, yes, I realize how dorky that sounds, but we're rewarded and supported instead of cautioned and screamed at for taking huge leaps into the unknown. We give a lot of lip service to the idea that anything is possible, and we all grow up with posters of kittens and baby seals on our walls that say, "Follow your dreams" on them. But should you actually do something radical and all the flashing lights and sirens go off? Know what I'm saying? Fear lives in the future. The feeling of being afraid is real, but the fear itself is made up because it hasn't even happened yet. Death, going bankrupt, breaking a leg, forgetting your lines, getting yelled at for being late, being rejected. Most of the time, we have no guarantee what we fear is going to ever happen, and if it does, that it's going to be scary. Take death, for example. We all know we leave our bodies and melt into the state of pure love and light and sparkly things and unicorns and bunnies and eternal orgasm goodness. We can be as sure of that as we can about anything else in the future. So why create all the drama? All it takes to turn the fear factor around is learning to be comfortable in it instead of terrified of the unknown. And this is done through faith. It basically comes down to how you choose to go through life. Is your fear greater than your faith in the unknown and yourself? Or is your faith in the unknown and yourself greater than your fear? While you're making your choices, here's a mouthful of gold, good old Helen Keller. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. To keep our faces toward change and behave like free spirits in the presence of fate is strength undefeatable. That's the incredible moment when you've decided, screw it, I'm going for it. And suddenly the thrill overtakes the fear. And you're flying over the magic carpet. You're singing on the dotted line to buy the house, comforting your father, sliding the ring into your finger, stepping onto the stage in front of thousands, talking about feeling alive. On the other side of your fear is your freedom. And I'm going to stop there. Tomorrow we will go over the points. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points in this chapter, okay? We'll see you tomorrow. I got to get my workout done. Peace out.